Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining into this session. We will be having a hour-long panel discussion, of which our panelists will discuss the themes shared for approximately 40 minutes. And the last 20 minutes, we would love to take some questions from all of you. If you could start putting up your questions in the chat box, our team will keep track of them and make sure that they are addressed. Over to you, Alok. We can begin the session.
Thanks, Megha. And we have on the chat box. Okay. My name is Alok Sharma. I'm the CEO of Scali Livprotec. I've been very passionate about water for nearly a decade now. Starting with what had happened to our rivers in India. Started on a journey with the river Ganges and figured out, what is leading to this pollution. And we started looking at areas on how we could add value and figured out that maybe innovation could be the right way forward. So that's my background, and I'm passing on to Diwakar to introduce himself.
Yeah. Thanks, Alok. This is Diwakar. I'm working with Segova in India, in Bangalore. And I'm in charge of EHS and also part of the sustainability team for the group in India. I'm based out of Bangalore and as an active member of sustainability group in the company for quite some time now. Passionate about water. Just like the way the circular economy for waste, circular economy for water is something which I always pursue for the conservation of water. It's very important resource, and just like the human consumption, the business continuity for industry is an important aspect for water. And just like the sewage water treatment which we have for treating the sewage water coming from different sources. Effluent treatment plants are also there in industries, but I am always on the lookout for minimizing the load to the effluent treatment plant. That means we need to look at source control, and that is possible. And if we are able to get to that particular thing, that will be an ultimate objective for water management. Thank you.
Yeah, Sirisha.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning. I think we're between good afternoon and good evening. Yeah. So thank you for joining in. I'm very happy and excited to actually be part of this session. I work with Indian Hotels Company Limited. It is a large hospitality company which is India-based. We have over 220 hotels, and I lead the sustainability efforts for this organization. So I'm passionate about everything to do with people, that is talent, as well as sustainability, energy, water, waste, biodiversity, all of them included. And I think I want to have great takeaways from this session as much as I share as well. So looking forward to it.
Vinod.
Thanks, Alok. Hello, everybody. Great to be on this panel this evening. Just a quick background. My name is Vinod Achi, and I'm one of the co-founders of Teenage Resources. We are a Singapore-based company set up a little over 3 years ago. While we've only been about 3 years old, but we've acquired a engineering business in India that's been in wastewater treatment and waste to energy for over 27 years. And our entire business model is to build, operate, and run waste water treatment and waste energy plants on a BOOT basis. That's our primary focus. And in terms of passion, I would say that the founder group's previous venture was in renewable energy in solar, which is basically where we built for on a BOOT basis solar for corporate industrial clients. And in all our interaction with over 150 clients, we realized water is equally a challenge for most of our clients. And being in Singapore, we see how well the city-state runs its water management. It values its water, it manages it very well, and it's quite an inspiration from that perspective. So I think we believe we can bring the same ethos and philosophy to the same corporate clients to be able to bring in new approaches and technologies and offer solutions on a build, own, operate basis, which is both so capital efficient and also takes the challenge and headache of incorporating and adding new technologies away from the clients.
Okay. Thanks, Rajesh.
Hi everyone, I am Rajesh Bhatt and I come from industry background and I have worked for large industries for almost 24 years. I am a hardcore the water and effluent treatment fellow. Since beginning, I have done a lot of work in water and effluent treatment because according to me, water is very, very precious. But the thing is that water is the most precious but neglected chemical. So whenever the water conservation comes, effluent treatment comes, everyone looks for ROI, return on investment. That is a very sad part. At the same time, I am not telling it is a wrong thing, but the importance has to be given as important as product when we produce and market we do. The water is the most important commodity because we are all seeing the scarcity of water, contamination of water. So with that background I come from, and I am very happy to be part of this panel session. I am very thankful to World Water Week. At the same time, we would like to bring a lot of innovative technologies discussion on this panel. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. So just to set the context, we know that most of our water aquifers, whether they're lakes, rivers, underground water, is contaminated globally. There is water like PFAS, heavy metals that are seen across the globe in drinking water. Climate change is actually changing the water, rainfall patterns, and many places are either getting excess water or no water at all. So, water security is compromised because of the scarcity we are getting. Regulatory norms are going up dramatically across the globe, and that is led traditionally into relocation of industries. So when advanced countries or developed countries started putting stringent environmental norms, the industries moved to other countries, for example, India, China, Bangladesh in textiles, Sri Lanka, and many others. But now pretty much everything is polluted and there's a big backlash and there's no place left to go and escape this. And this has had a huge impact on human health because all kinds of non-communicable diseases like autoimmune diseases, cancer, digestive issues, infertility are now become very widespread and they're growing rapidly. And I think this is related to the water we have and the water that goes into our food systems because it's used in agricultural the same way. And I think to discuss all these issues, why this has happened, has technology been able to keep pace or not? What are the changes needed to make in the industry? I have an August panel for which I'm very happy to discuss and share their ideas and put this together. And how can we move forward in solving these issues? So first, I'd like to talk to ask this question of Diwakar. From an organizational point of view, Diwakar, what do you think are the key priorities and issues that you're encountering at Saint Gobain, and how do you look at this problem, and what are the corporate goals that you're looking at? So we know the overall problem, but I think how large industries and corporations are looking at it would be really, I think, valuable to our audience.
Yes, hello. See, actually, when it comes to water, water is a very precious resource, and it's a most important resource for most of our businesses from the point of view of business continuity, because water is a critical resource for them. For example, we manufacture gypsum plaster boards, and we manufacture glass. Both these operations, water is an important resource. Without water, it will be extremely difficult to produce the products and maintain the utilities for manufacturing the glass. And so also in the other businesses, water is an important resource for us. Now, we consume significant quantity of water for our manufacturing operations around the world. And if we don't keep an eye on conservation of these water resources and cut down on the consumption of water over a period of time, the volume growth which is going to be there for any business, whichever is the business, it's the water is not going to be eternally available. The good potable water and the water which is required for manufacturing some of our products are very stringent in terms of its quality requirements. So, Saint-Gobain worldwide, way back in 2003, 2004, we committed ourselves to the United Nations Global Compact, and we also brought out our own water policy in the due course. And it applies to all the activities, irrespective of whether it is a big one or a small one. And it applies to two parts. One is to reduce the withdrawal of water from the resources. Whichever is the resource, it may be groundwater, it may be river water, it may be water which is purchased from outside, or the water which is supplied by the industry bodies, like, for example, in Karnataka, it is KADB. Associated risks, because there are several manufacturing locations which are in the water stressed areas or water risky areas. It means there is no water available in those places, or the groundwater levels have been depleted. So we said we will focus on these things and cut down on our resources. The consumption of water, that is one. Then the second one is whenever you use water in industry, whenever you use water in the industry, you always tend to have some amount of effluent which is coming out from that. And you end up having a treatment facility for these trade effluents. And in some places, the trade effluent treatment plant could be difficult. So what they do is they give out to the PSDF facility, or it may go into municipal sewers or the industrial sewers, which is available in different countries for taking out and treating the water. So this we call it as discharge. So when we looked at this data in 2003, 2004, we said we should have a target for reductions. One, we said globally, we said we will have 80% of the discharge water, whatever water gets into effluent and goes out, or pre-treated water goes out into the different streams outside of the industrial compounds of Saint-Gobain. We will reduce it by 80% compared to what was there in 2010 by 2025. So there was a 15-year target which was set up for water discharge. And we also looked at 2017, we looked at further upgrading this particular thing. And then we said 50% of our water consumption we will reduce by 2030. That means our water footprint will come down by 50% in 2030. Just to give you an insight on this, we have the volume growth in different countries, and it's going to be in multiples of 2x or 3x. So this is an important objective for us, and it's a very focused area for Saint-Gobain worldwide in all the countries where Saint-Gobain is in operation. So there are different stages which we said that, like you will do the risk assessment, and you will reduce the water-related risk, like the way whatever you explained just now. The waterborne diseases coming out from different pollutants, etc. So these are high on our agenda, and the company is also in CEO water mandate. There is a global platform in which we participate, and then we are on the task on this particular thing, but the task is humongous. It's quite a lot for us. It's a lot of things to be done. And in the last 5 years, to give you an idea how it has happened, our overall consumption of water, worldwide consumption of water, in 2019, it was about 50 million cubic meters. Now it is about 42 million cubic meters. In 5 years, the volume growth in different parts of the world has at least multiplied by 2 times, and at least several acquisitions would have taken place. So And this is an important objective for us, and recycling is one of the important focus area for us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Diwakar talked about recycling, decreasing the water footprint, and reduction of even taking water away from the current resources, and also discharge. So I think big lofty roles. And Sirisha, I want to add something about what Taj
Yeah,
Group.
I completely agree. Very lofty goals. Yeah, but I think very inspiring also, Divakar, to see how Saint-Gobain has taken over this commitment, right? 15-year commitment, achieved it much in advance. I think we are almost working on similar lines, although I'd say that we didn't start this journey as much earlier with Indian Hotels. So we have the entire sustainability framework called the Pathya framework, and there are multiple aspects to the entire framework. So we got started much earlier when it came to with energy related work. And I think when it came to energy related work, the net zero thing didn't seem as difficult for us to kind of get there. But now that we are working on all the water related projects, this entire water positive piece doesn't seem easy at all. In fact, it is very, very tough. Yeah. And that's when you realize that probably we should have gotten started with water before we actually got started with energy related stuff. So having said that, I think as an industry, it is a fairly water intensive usage industry also, because this is real estate. So anywhere between 200 to 800 liters or more per day is per guest per day is used up in a hotel, depending upon the size of the hotel, the amenities which are offered by the hotel. So water utilization is very high in this kind of business. And also when I think of it from the perspective of tourism, we are in places where probably these are, and especially in an India context, we are in very many water stressed areas. So that means that while there is a huge shortage of water, there are hotels coming up there because guests want to explore them from the perspective of tourism. It might not seem an issue of today, but clearly going forward and very soon, actually in the near future, this is going to be a little bit of an issue. So what is happening, I think, I would say that in the hospitality industry, we are fairly nascent in terms of putting some kind of major technologies in place. Having said that, I think everybody's taken a fair amount of cognizance to what the challenge really is. And there is work which has definitely got started. So whether it is basics of making sure that the design element is right and the kind of plumbing fixtures, low flow fixtures, etc., from a design perspective is fine. The STPs, ETPs, upgradations, etc., are all in place. I think from a new technology perspective, we are yet to kind of make some kind of significant moves in that particular area. While I would say that at the Indian hotels, we've started some kind of work around rainwater harvesting across locations where this is something which is plausible and makes sense for us to do. And also because we run a lot of our properties which are large resorts. So that also means that much of the water that you're actually utilizing is from a gardening perspective. So it is actually lost to a certain extent. And how is it that we are able to use better landscaping, irrigation practices? These are some of the things that we really need to kind of look at. So that is where we are as of now. We've taken some commitments. They seem fairly lofty for us also, but hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah, thanks, Risha. Rajesh, you spent a lot of time in the corporate life, okay, running water effluent treatment for industries. So tell us something about what were the challenges and priorities that you saw that you really felt that it could have been much better.
Yeah, in addition to what Divakar and Srisha has already told about the manufacturing industries as well as hospitality industries. In present scenario, the large manufacturing industries, they are facing a lot of difficulties to achieve the UB80 norms, then sustainability norms and energy norms. That is with respect to reduction of CO2 per product, whatever the ton of product they produce. And over and above, wherever they are today working or manufacturing, they are facing a lot of stringent norms with respect to government stipulations. Why? Because the technology is not advanced. The technology is the only key which can address all these issues. If you see the sewage 50 years back, for example, if I take the sewage 50 years back was a very mild sewage. The conventional technology would have definitely worked, and we would have used that treated water for gardening. But today, around 60%, if I'm not wrong, of the population, they consume a lot of medicines, the hormones, antibiotics, BP tablets, sugar tablets. So, and more these hospitals are coming in all the even tier 2, tier 3 cities. They use a lot of radioactive substances. They are all going into the sewage. And sewage treatment, which we have adopted earlier, will not address all these things. If you see the science remaining same in last 100 years about the effluent treatment, but there is no much change in the what is called, there is no much innovation has happened. Only technically we have changed. RO membrane we have changed, the pumps we have changed, or evaporation technology we have changed. Is a technology advancement, not science per se. The innovation has happened. So considering this, if you talk about sewage today, it's a very simple example. The COD which should be 50 or 50 below, and the COD due to what we don't know. It may be due to hormones. It may be due to cyclic organic compounds which we are taking in the form of amines and all in the form of medicines. But these are all going to accumulate in the soil, and soil will give it to the plants, and it will come back to us. So we need a disruption. The industries, whoever is in the manufacturing today, achieving zero liquid discharge or achieving zero discharge of hazardous chemicals, and also achieving the low energy consumption and net zero carbon, or not producing the hazardous waste for the dumping at the government landfill sites. If we have to achieve holistically everything, which is very important for environmental management, the only solution is disruptive innovations. So that is what I look forward, and I come from that background, because today that is the only key. We need real what is called disruption and innovations to be brought in, and so that we can save the water, and definitely our younger generations can definitely get a better quality of water to drink and live longer.
Thanks, Rajesh. So just for some of the people who joined later, we had said that we'll be having a conversation for 40-45 minutes. Last 15-20 minutes will be questions. So please put your questions on the chat box, and we'll be taking them shortly. So considering, we've looked at some of the problems, I think we can do some crystal gazing, and we'll talk about technologies too. There's some questions already coming on that. So, I'll start with Vinod and say, Vinod, what do you think are the changes that are required in the water industry, or what are being forced on the water industry? What seems to be happening here? Throw some light on that, and then maybe we can take other panelists to throw some light on figuring out where we are heading towards.
Sure. I think one of the most important things is that water needs to be valued appropriately and correctly. And thus far, we've had water availability at too low cost, too cheap, compared to what, we all say it's a valuable resource, it's a critical resource, it's a, fast diminishing resource, but we are not willing to pay for, what the, value of the water is. And I can just give an example. For example, in Singapore, the new water that, the government recycles and, distributes to the industrial clients is priced at over $2.5 per cubic meter. Right. And I think at that price point, all companies are quite focused on how well they manage their water and, how much they discharge and how much they recover. Right. So I think starting point is that we need to value our water more appropriately. And I think that will come. It's a matter of time. Second, one trend I definitely see is that water is one of the resources that we're recovering. But in wastewater, we have a lot of other reasons, because wastewater is created by us adding a lot of chemicals, both organic and inorganic, in our water, in our processes. And ability to recover those chemicals back, in the whole treatment of water is going to be quite valuable, because I think to the extent that we're able to recover and reuse those chemicals, it reduces the entire, cost of your processing. I think that's basically one area where we definitely see a lot more focus and attention being put in. And when we talk about technologies and approaches, definitely see a lot more, investment and focus in this area. Thirdly, I would say is that currently most of the approach has been generic ETP style. So you take all the streams of water from your various processes, put it together, and try and treat it as one single thing. Increasingly, we think it's better to do treatment at source, so that you don't, mix up the problems. And when you can apply specific technologies for specific streams of wastewater and treat them at source, so that you can reduce the challenges downstream in terms of further treatment, I think that becomes a much more smarter and a sensible way of approaching. And I would say finally, utility water treatment will increasingly become a utility model. I mean, thus far, all companies have been operating it on a proprietary basis. They build their own treatment plants, they operate it. Yes, many industries, it is critical part of their business, so they are not willing to kind of let go control of it. But I think increasingly, they will see the value in outsourcing it to people or professionals who understand water and who can manage and maintain and operate the plants and are willing to deploy current and promising technologies to further reduce operating costs and improving recovery of resources. So I would say these are 3-4 trends we definitely see. It might take a bit of while, but some are moving faster than others. Yeah, I mean, future definitely looks bright. You're on mute, Alok.
Yeah. Sorry. Thanks, Vinod. Diwakar, you want to add anything on that, on how you see things happening in the future?
See, future, in my view, has lots of opportunities for water and also the wastewater. While, like what you said, the current value of water is low. It's been actually undervalued. People don't know the value of water today. And that is the reason why, like what Rajesh said, initially everybody goes around the ROI for any of these treatment facilities. That's because the water today is not valued properly. Now, in the coming days, reduction is the key, and that is the only thing which can help us along the way. But recovery and recycling will become much more prominent in the years to come. Like I'm already seeing some questions in the chat. He's asking whether how much of treated effluent can be used back in the production process, and somebody is also telling whether domestic and industrial effluent should not be put together, etc. So disruption in these technologies is very important, and that is the key. My view, whether it is coming from sewage or whether it is coming from the trade effluent, the disruptive technology, when it actually disrupts the entire thing and then takes out the water and takes out the elements in that particular sewage or in the effluent out, you get clear water. And that water can be used for any purpose. It need not be that it should not be mixed. It can be separately treated and then it can be taken off. That is one. But like I said, business continuity is an important focus area for water. Because with some places the water is not available, the business will struggle. Technological evaluations in wastewater treatment and alternate to the cleaning systems what we have in industries for using water, it becomes much more necessary in the days to come. And the other part is the circularity, like I said in earlier discussion. Circularity on waste is known, very well known, well documented, and people are aware of that. But circularity on water, the wastewater, is something which is not known, but it is going to catch up. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Diwakar. Sirisha, would you add something on this?
Yeah, just a couple of points. In fact, I was thinking that maybe, I was thinking a little bit from the perspective of there is an aspect which is to do with systems that we put in place to be able to make things happen. And the second part happens to be technology. So from the perspective of, I'm drawing from what Vinod mentioned about making this entire water piece utility-based, like everything else. And I'm thinking that governments also need to play a very big role in this space, from a regulatory space, consistent deployment of regulations, etc. Because we need to explore possibilities of maybe public-private partnerships in this particular space, so that we are able to kind of bring in better collaborations between the government, other stakeholders, corporates, companies, etc., to be able to make the best out of this particular resource which actually exists. That's one piece. Because we need these enablers to actually make everything else happen. So while many technologies might exist, we need to have certain kind of enforcement, basic requirements, not basic, maybe advanced requirements which are required as of. That is one thing. Second is, I think, yes, we need to definitely have new technologies and not just basic improvements in technologies, maybe something more disruptive. And I'm not sure how much is available. Maybe we need to discuss more around this particular area. The only way I look at it is that this is very critical also, because for corporates, I think every time you're looking at implementation of technology, it is more commercially viable solutions that one is actually looking for. So what is the availability of technologies, and how these can be made more easily adoptable? I think those are the kind of questions corporates usually reflect upon. So I rest at those two.
Yeah, thanks, Risha. Rajesh, would you like to say where technology you're seeing, and what your technology brings to the forum of all the issues that have been raised? Is there some light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, definitely, because today when we see the requirements of large manufacturing industries, it is not that the treatment technology they need. They need a holistic approach. What is holistic approach? Suppose if I use one technology, I should be in a position to treat the water to the fullest extent with less energy consumption and less hazardous waste generation. And also I use a better filtration system where biofouling will be minimized. There are so many technological requirements will be there. And this can be addressed. What I strongly believe is that this can be addressed only with R&D. R&D today, it is not research and development. It is revolution and disruption. So we need to go beyond that, actually. In fact, it will be, I consider it as a first step of R&D, and we need to really go beyond. So with all these, because with my background of seeing the different effluent treatment plants, the largest in the world, and also the various problems what we faced in the industries to address the issues. With all those background, today I am here with a new technology, because I traveled from a buyer seat to a seller seat. Why? Because today we need to do something differently. We cannot do the same thing what we were doing, so or what we have been doing. So conventional technologies will not address all the issues of today's requirement. So if I have to achieve zero liquid discharge or achieve zero discharge of hazardous chemicals as per European norms, it is not possible with the conventional technologies. Then I need to move from conventional to the revolution and disruption. So with that background, we started a research, a study on Aquatron. So it's a different technology altogether. So when we consider about the future of water or water industry, so we need a strong technology which can address most of the problems in the industries. With that background, we started a research on physics, especially, so address the issues related to chemistry using the physics. So that was the revolution and disruption we started. So the technology what we invented and patented is called FE-star, fine particle shortwave thrombotic agglomeration reaction. So this is nothing but coagulating the dissolved particles. See what chemistry says, we can coagulate only the colloidal particles. Only the particles which are in colloidal form can be coagulated by adding polyaluminum chloride or LM. And after that, we need a filtration and we need reverse osmosis followed by evaporation. It's a long process, and we know a lot of problems associated with that. But still, a lot of technology advancements are happening. I'm not telling the technologies are not advancing in that area, but we needed a different perspective altogether. Why we have to treat in a similar way? We can treat in a different way. So in our technology, in one sentence, what we do is we convert all the dissolved solids into suspended solids and filter it out. So we wanted to take away all the conventional treatment philosophy, that is physicochemical treatments or biological oxidation treatment, and the reverse osmosis philosophy, as well as the evaporation of the RO reject, all these, the technological philosophies, we wanted to take it out, and at one step we wanted to do with the help of physics. So it is according to me, it is a great invention because it is a worldwide patent, and I consider this as a future of water and wastewater industry, because we need again the revolution and disruption to address all these complicated effluents which are to be treated to achieve zero liquid discharge. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rajesh. And I think one of the things this technology also does is that when you convert all the dissolved into suspended solids, they get broken into the elemental form using, power of resonance. So the energy costs are very low, and the residue that is there, or the resources that are there, we can recover the resources in the elemental form, and they are non-toxic. So the sludge is non-toxic. You are able to basically solve the problem. So if Mother Earth gave us water and elements, we build chemicals out of it, put it into manufacturing process, and we reverse the whole process and get elements back and water back. So this water then can be used for any purpose, obviously can be used back into the process. I think the brilliant work that's been done by Dr. Bhatt and his team, and the scientists that who's built this product, Dr. Raja Vijay Kumar. What we could do now is that we would like to start the questions. This thing Q&A is very quickly, in next 5 minutes max. So I'll just leave a minute each for all the other members to maybe give their views, any thoughts, any best practice, anything that they want to say, but just in a minute. Divakar, would you like to attempt first? Yeah. Anything you'd like to share?
One thing which I've been going around searching for some solutions for the wastewater, the energy needs of the company, etc. I'm going around in different parts of the country and then looking and talking to different people, talking to different startups. Several interesting things have come up when it comes to effluent. And in fact, I was mentioning to you the other day, the effluent which has got a highest COD is the most difficult to be treated in any effluent treatment plant. They spend lakhs and lakhs of rupees, crores of rupees on treating that. There is a startup which we were talking about. They are able to convert and extract hydrogen through a system. It's not an electrolysis thing. It's not an electrolysis. It's something different, but it generates hydrogen. So effluent is an opportunity for energy. So that is one. The second one is the one which you have, the Aquatron. A really fantastic innovation in that sense. It can do wonders because the sludge which comes out is in the elemental form. You don't have the hazardous waste anymore. If it can be operationalized, if it can be used in the industry much larger way for the effluents which are coming out from their streams, the solution can be found. But aside of all of these things, the most important aspect is, why do we generate effluent? That is the first important question which an industry should ask. Why should we generate the effluent at source? Is there any other way by which the effluent can be eliminated? There are different ways by which washing can be done without even using water. You generate some other waste, but that waste need not be hazardous. So there are possibilities in that sense. Domestic sewage is different. I mean, you can't avoid taking bath, and then you can't avoid having the effluent, the sewage which is coming out from that. But industrial effluent is something which, in my view, can be controlled. We have seen several kind of initiatives across in different places, like they use nozzles, they fit the nozzles, they go for digital, they go for leak test, pipe leakage. All those things are available. I mean, they are all available for people to fit. But most important thing is to look at really disruptive technologies, both in terms of usage point as well as the solution after it is getting into an affluent. And that's my take, Alex.
Thank you. Sirisha, would you like to say something on this? A minute on your final thoughts. You have something to add?
No, final thoughts. I'm actually excited and looking forward to hear from everyone about the new technologies. We haven't tried Aquatron yet, but I guess it'll be interesting to know more about the entire piece. And it is good to hear from everyone else about all the other technologies also. Just one of my thoughts was that, while there is much work that happens around technology, I think these kind of learning and sharing is equally important, because many a times, like Divakar mentioned, there are some startups in different places and new technologies are coming in place. I think we need to create a little more holistic ecosystem where more sharing happens and everyone is able to see what is the new technologies which is available, for us to kind of look at some used cases of what has worked and probably what are some of the areas where things like this can work, for us to kind of start educating these technologies. I don't think we're left with much time. So we need to start doing some work around this really quickly. So that's it from me.
Yeah, thanks. Vinod, you want to say something?
Yeah, just a couple of points. I think one is to also the point that Divakar raised. I think one big thing to focus on is reducing the use of chemicals in the entire treatment process, and I think that's the primary source of effluent treatment is we're using chemicals. So to the extent we're able to eliminate or even reduce dramatically the use of chemicals, I think it makes a big difference in terms of the. And in this regard, I think the new technologies and the approaches that are coming, where primarily energy is being used, electricity, where Aquatron is one of the examples, but there are many such examples that we're coming up, seeing of startups using electricity power as a way of trying to treat effluent rather than adding chemicals to it and adding to the problem of further treatment. I think that's one point. The other one I would basically say is that in terms of we talk about startups, new technology approaches, ability to rapidly pilot and test these things is very critical. I mean, like there is no point having long analysis paralysis kind of a period. It's about quickly checking your effluent water. How can we treat? How can we pilot with these new technologies? See what works, what doesn't work. How it can be tweaked. Because all these technologies are not viable or commercially pricing on day one. They will not be. That's the nature of the new technologies. But when you pilot it quickly, understand where the best use cases are, and then able to scale it into those use cases, then you can drop the pricing to something that's very viable and can be more widely applied and used. So I think those are a couple of I would say best practices that I would consider.
Yeah, thanks, Vinod. I think we'll take some questions. Megha, have you been able to look at some questions, and would you like to share some questions?
Sure. So the first question that we have is directly addressed to Dr. Bhatt. Is there any existing or upcoming technology that seems to promise tackling water usage? Which industries should be thinking about? Desalination is one. However, it has its own downsides like high energy uses and brine generation. Thoughts?
Yeah. In our technology, actually, the best part, actually, what excites me is that in our technology, we don't use any chemicals, first of all. So it is purely based on physics principle. And second, it has been already mentioned that whatever the dissolved solids are there, they are not in the compounded form. They will be in the elemental form. So if I apply this technology for the desalination purposes, so whatever the sludge will be coming, they are all the elements present in the seawater. Sea mining is not allowed. That's why it is a rich source of all the elements. So we get a good quality, that is IS 10500 standard quality water, drinking water standard quality water. And whatever the reject comes from the final filtration system, its dissolved solids will be equivalent to seawater only. So that if required, we can recycle, or if required, we can send it back to sea. So in the present desalination system, the problem is the entire brine concentrate is going back to the sea. That's why there is a big story. The salmon sadi, Omani sadi, the salmon fish, they are totally extincted. There is no more that small fishes which were living near to the shore. They are not at all there now. They were known as Omani sadi. They are very good source of the salmon, this omega-3 fatty acids. So all these things are slowly getting extincted because of our activities. So if we adopt this type of technology, no doubt we can get the good quality drinking water, at the same time will not be polluting the sea. So one more is that we have already, we have a lot of pilots, pilot plants we have made. Thanks to Vinod for mentioning that. And the technology is highly matured. It is not the today's technology. It is since 2018. A lot of plants are running and we have good results, and a lot of pilot plants are running at different locations. And people can definitely discuss with us for more details.
So we have commercial plants running in large global multinationals for drinking water, sewage, food industry. We just got orders from solar manufacturing, automobile manufacturing, leachate plants. We have leachate plants which take care of leachate. So these are all commercially proven technologies in many areas, and use cases have been proven across many sectors already. The pilot plants are being used to help customers and realize what they're doing for industries where we don't have use cases already established. Because every customer does need to look at how they would they would want to test their own water to get comfort, because in the earlier principles of chemical and biological processes, every water was treated differently. Since we use physics, everything for us is a periodic table, so all water we look similarly, and therefore able to use a platform technology to manage that. And that, I think, is a big disruptive innovation that allows. And people like Clean Edge Resources, many other large system integrators are working with us because they are the solution providers and we are a tech company. So we're really having a very close relationship with solution providers across the globe to take our technology, because they know how to run plants, how to manage plants, and we can give them the core tech. So that broadly is there. Next question, Megha, would you like to take up?
Sure. The next question comes from Byron. The question is there a rule of thumb or maximum percentage of treated effluent that you use for your production purposes before it becomes too costly and energy intensive?
Dr. Bhatt, you want to say something?
Yeah. See, there is no thumb rule. It depends on industry to industry. Normally, it ultimately depends on what is their water target. So, end of the day, I recycle the water, but the product should not suffer the quality. So, at the same time, I meet all the norms as per our internal norms or the market norms and regulatory norms. So, there is no such thumb rule. But yes, we can always go for what is called technological interventions to achieve that, to fix the norm for achieving the recycling, and what percentage recycling we have to achieve without disturbing any ecosystem in the production plant.
If I could just add a point here, I think it all comes down to what the alternative price point is.
Yeah.
Right. So there are some industries where the effluent is so difficult to treat by all conventional methods or existing approaches that the price point is so high that even if it is energy intensive, but it's cheaper than that price point, you would still go for it. So you really have to compare with what is the other alternative, and that's basically where every corporate would make the call, right? I think with Diwakar and Shirisha would echo is that it's not per se what the energy intensity is. What is the opportunity cost of this approach versus another approach?
You are right.
Yeah. So, for most of the, every technology obviously limits, but for most of the effluents, we are able to design plants where you can help you recover the full water. So, and it will be at a, it will be at a quality which you than you're already using, or maybe a drinking water quality, depending on what you need. So there is no limit, okay? Because we are basically breaking the dissolved solids into suspended solids in their elemental form, and the recovered water can be used by you, okay? Obviously, depending on the concentrations and others, the plants have to be designed accordingly. And since it's not electrolysis kind of process or anything else, the power consumption is relatively very low. So it's very small footprint. So if you were to take, the carbon footprint related to something that uses an evaporator technology with zero liquid discharge, we would be, our cost would be maybe half or maybe even lower than that, okay, in most countries, because we use much lesser energy. Maybe, Megha, you can ask maybe the next question.
Sure. We have a thought that's been shared regarding the separation of domestic sewage and industrial commercial water. It says we should not allow domestic sewage to be mixed with industrial and commercial wastewater. This disruption we need, and this can help a lot for achieving the CE in the water sector. Use of appropriate scale for water management and coming out from centralized system of water management gradually.
Yeah.
Generally, the industrial effluent and the domestic sewage are never mixed and treated together. There are separate streams for both, and then it goes separately and get treated separately. But in the end, if the water quality is good in both the things, they normally it can be mixed and then it can be reused back either for industrial process or for any other purposes. But I have never come across sewage and effluent going together into a common stream.
Yeah, you are right, sir.
We have another thought by the same participant saying that we need fit for purpose water use rather than a single high quality water for all purposes. And they've attached an article as well.
Yeah,
it's correct. Fit for purpose is the Balok.
Yeah, go ahead. You are good. Go ahead.
No, fit for purpose is the most apt thing for any water usage. For example, you need some quality of water which allows some level of TDS. Why do you want to go for demineralized water? It's as simple as that. It's again the question of economics.
At the same time, every industry has to do the water pinch analysis. No? Every stream has to be analyzed properly. Where the chemicals are bleeding, which type of chemical we can recover before it reaches the end of the pipe treatment plant. So when we do the water pinch analysis, stream-wise analysis, then we can come across what type of water we can recycle at the source and what needs to be treated and recycled. So that purpose has to be like that. In the sense, if suppose a process X requires, as Divakar rightly said, if it requires DM water, I need to produce demineralized water. If not, it can be a process water, requirement quality water. So then the economics, it will work in a better way and we can still reduce the cost of production. So many people, those who have achieved zero liquid discharge and achieved a very good water circular economy, they are definitely on the very high level of competition. They have not suffered any losses. The sustainability value is increasing. And if I do not get the water for 3-4 months and I have to stop the plant, and the customers will run away and I will suffer a big loss.
Thanks. Megha, next question. Anything else?
Next question is any disruptive technology on the horizon regarding desalination?
I think Dr. Bhatt did cover that, saying that, we are, Aquatron really has a very clear value proposition in the desalination market. In fact, I think we are setting up a first pilot plant in that area to check. We've checked at the lab level, and like Dr. Bhatt said, we are able to recover clean water, many resources, and also whatever filtration reject we get or blow down we get is actually just the seawater, which is unprocessed. So we are not creating any brine. So, it obviously gives you the clean water resources, and you are able to push that water back in the sea unless you want to recycle it again into another circle. And I think that is something that we are very actively working on. And I think it's vastly required because oceans and seas are perennial source of water for us. And there are many, many, locations around the seacoast which are water deficient. And by reducing sodium chloride, it can also be great water for agricultural use because it all has all the other minerals in trace quantity. So I think we are very aggressively working on this area.
In addition to what Alok told, we also have a plan to start our own pilot plant in Singapore so that we will test both the brine concentrate as well as the seawater, so which can be addressed in a better way. So lot of technological, the research and development things are also on page. And I think probably this year end, we'll be able to come out with a better solution for this.
All right, thank you. The next question is, can you make artificial water? Would this be possible?
I think that technology that we have, that is for drinking water from air, but not this one. This one is largely wastewater treatment, but we are not covering that technology here. We can move forward.
We have another thought that is on desalination, saying that desalination is feasible, less energy intensive in coastal areas/cities.
Sure.
And the next question after that is, any thoughts on waterless technologies in manufacturing, for example, in glass manufacturing?
You are on mute.
Come across any of those things that, oh, sorry. No, I'm not on mute. Yeah. I'm audible? Yeah. No, I have not come across any waterless technology as of now. See, basically, water is used in the cooling circuits in the manufacture of glass and for cleaning of certain products of glass after it is done. For example, mirror or the mirror. Basically, when you mirror, you use a lot of water. A good quality water is used for manufacturing the mirror. Water doesn't go to the product, but it is used as a most important resource for us. And I don't know, the technology may come at some point of time when you will have something else to cool it down than water, possible. And but in all these cases, we are looking at recovery and recycling much more than wasting that water for something else.
Okay, great. Thanks. I think we have 3-4 minutes left. We'll take 1 or 2 last questions, then comments, and then we can close.
Sure.
Yeah. Go ahead, Megha.
We have 2 to 3 more questions. So for anyone's questions who don't get addressed, we will reach out and respond to you. So please do not worry. The next question is, what technologies would you recommend for small businesses in the food industry to deal with oil, fat, and grease?
If I could just address that, Alok. So we are working with one promising technology provider in this space, which is it's a Nobel Prize winning chemical compound based filtration system. So to separate oil, grease, and fat from the water. I think that's something that we have again piloting and then pretty good results. And the good part about is from the oil, fat, and grease, we are also able to generate a fair bit of energy in terms of biogas generation. So there is combination of energy generation and also separation, process. And then, of course, there are several other technologies also downstream that we would be deploying. But for this specifically, I can say that we have got some pretty interesting and very encouraging results using these technologies in nanofiltration.
Yeah, thanks, Vinod. Any queries come on this, we'll pass it on your way. Next one.
Sure. The next question is from Hamna. She says, my question is more about knowledge sharing on a regional level. I think India is leading in technology among South Asian countries. So what would your thoughts be on making such technologies easily available for the welfare of the whole South Asian region and collaborating with other South Asian countries to come up with a solution? Because water scarcity is not a problem, a country-specific problem. She shared some details on the background, but since we don't have much time, I think I'll leave it at that.
I think we're very happy to collaborate. Water is a humanity problem. It's not a country problem. It's not an industry problem. And we have to leave a legacy for our next generations. Okay. I think though, I hope that no wars are fought on water in the future, like they were always fought in our history. And this is a resource that we need to share as population is growing, needs are growing, consumption is growing. And we are very happy to collaborate and see what we can do for all countries, including the South Asian countries. Okay, so I think there is one question on the semiconductor industry. I'll give one last minute. So I think they use ultra pure water. So we bring down the cost of building ultra pure water. So we are as a one step before the ultra pure water. Because what happens is when we put up the elements in the elemental form, the group 1 elements may tend to react with water and form some hydroxides. But then all the other chemicals, all the other compounds get removed, including heavy metals. So then the conversion from that to ultra pure water through an ion exchange method is very, very easy. So we can bring down the cost and therefore we have a huge role to play in the semiconductor industry. Any comments from anyone as we come to the end of the session? Please feel free to send us a mail. I think Megha has left her mail ID. Please send us a mail if you want to reach in touch with us. We are building partnerships across the globe to help, like you said, collaborate with everyone to take the technology and the solutions across to all our customers and the world.
Thank you, Alok.
Thank you,
Okay.
Alok, and thanks, Livprotec for
Thank you, Alok.
Thank you, Devakar. Thank you, Srisha.
Walker, thank you.
Thank you, Megha. Thank you, Vinod.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, all the participants.
Thank you for attending our session.
Yeah. Bye-bye.